Hope you have found this video useful. The best way to support the channel and ensure you don't miss our next upload is to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Part 37.35. Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks, the immutable decree of victory. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. In our previous session, we witnessed the tragic moment of betrayal. We saw how the Makkans, who once boasted they would be the most sincere of believers if only a reminder came to them, turned away the moment the Quran arrived. We explored the psychology of denial and the heavy consequences of procrastinated sincerity. Today, in part 37.35, the tone of Surah As-Saffat shifts from polemic to a majestic declaration of divine sovereignty. In verses 171 through 175, Allah reveals the universal law of success. We will explore the word that was sent to the messengers of old. Promise that the army of Allah is always the one to prevail. We will analyze the command to turn away for a while and the profound meaning behind watching the downfall of falsehood. This session is about the certainty of the end and why the believer can remain calm in the face of temporary hardship. We are learning that truth does not just survive. It is legally and spiritually predestined to conquer. Verse 171, the primordial word of victory, Kanzel Aman, Quran. Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Chapter 37, verse 171. And indeed our word has already been passed. For our bondmen who were sent as messengers, linguistic analysis. The verse begins with Walakod Sabaqat Kalimatunā, and indeed our word has preceded past. The verb sabaqat implies an ancient, unchangeable decree that was set in motion before the creation of the current conflict. Kalimatunā, our word, refers to the divine promise, or the logos of victory. The targets are Ibn el-Mursalin, our sent servants, messengers. Linguistically, the word is the legal foundation upon which all history is built. Exegetical depth. This verse unveils the master plan of history, exegetically. It means that the victory of the prophets is not an accidental event or a matter of luck. It is a preceded decree. Allah has already spoken the end of the story. Whether it was Noah against the flood, Abraham against the fire, or Muhammad, peace be upon him, against the Quraysh, the outcome was decided in the unseen before the first blow was struck. This verse provides the ultimate comfort. The struggle is real, but the result is already in the past tense sabaqat of divine knowledge. Sufi spiritual interpretation. In the Sufi path, this word is the secret of predestination, Sir Al-Qadar. The seeker understands that the struggle against the ego nafs is also subject to this word. If you are a sent servant in your heart, meaning you have sent your intentions purely to Allah, the word of victory has already passed for you. The Sufi lives in the peace of the preceded word. Why worry about the battle when the king has already signed the peace treaty? This verse calls the seeker to align their will with the preceded word. When you stop fighting for your own ego and start fighting for Allah's word, you become part of the decree that cannot be defeated. Historical ethical insight. Ethically, this verse teaches the ethics of long-term certainty. One should not be discouraged by short-term losses. Historically, it was revealed at a time when the Muslims were weak and outnumbered, serving as a prophetic forecast of the conquest of Makkah. Teaches us the ethics of strategic patience, knowing that the word of the king is the only currency that matters in the end. Legal jurisprudential insight. Jurisprudentially, this verse establishes the legitimacy of the prophetic mandate. The victory of the messengers is a legal necessity, because Allah is the supreme legislator. His word is the highest law. This verse provides the legal basis for the concept of al-ghalaba predominance, that the truth has the legal right to prevail over falsehood. It is the constitutional guarantee of the prophetic mission. Hikam, aphoristic interpretation. The ink is dry and the pens are lifted. The king doesn't wait for the battle to decide the winner. He decides the winner and then allows the battle. Don't look at the size of the enemy. Look at the age of the word. If the word has preceded, the outcome is already behind you. Verse 172. The guarantee of divine help, Kanzel Aman, Quran. Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks, chapter 37, verse 172, that indeed they will be helped. Linguistic analysis. The word is defined, Innahum lahum lahum lanarn. The emphasis is extreme. Inna indeed, la surely, and the pronoun hum they. The word Manṣūrūn is the passive participle of nar help, victory. It means those who are helped or the recipients of divine aid. Linguistically, it shifts the focus from the messenger's own strength to the help that descends upon them. Exegetical depth. Victory is not a human achievement. It is a divine gift. Exegetically, this verse clarifies that the messengers do not win because they are the smartest or the strongest, but because they are Manṣūrūn, the helped ones. This help comes in many forms: angels, natural forces, psychological dread in the hearts of enemies, or the opening of hearts. It confirms that the help of Allah is an inseparable shadow of the sent servant. If you are truly sent, the help is already on its way. Sufi spiritual interpretation. For the seeker, this is the station of tawakkul, complete reliance. To be Manṣūrūn is to realize that you cannot even make one step toward Allah without His nar. The Sufi understands that help is not just for external battles, but for the internal battle. When the word is active in the heart, the seeker is helped against their own desires. This verse is an invitation to divine dependency. The more you admit your helplessness, the more you are eligible for the help mentioned in this verse. Help is only for those who know they need it. Historical ethical insight. Ethically, this verse promotes humility and success. If you win, it is because you were helped, not because you were great. Historically, it refers to the miraculous victories of the previous prophets. It teaches us the ethics of gratitude, recognizing that every success is a signature of divine intervention. Legal jurisprudential insight. Jurisprudentially, this verse establishes the right to divine assistance for the righteous. It provides the legal framework for the concept of istinā, seeking help from Allah. In the divine legal system, the plaintiff of truth is guaranteed the enforcement officer of heaven, the angels. It legally binds the divine promise to the act of sincere service. Hikam, aphoristic interpretation. The one who is helped by Allah cannot be hindered by the world. Don't ask for a bigger sword. Ask for the help that makes the sword unnecessary. If you or man are helped, even your enemies will end up serving your purpose. Victory is not a destination, it is a companion. Verse 173, the invincibility of the army, Kenzel, Iman, Quran, Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Doubt, chapter 37, verse 173. And indeed our army, they only will be victorious. Linguistic analysis. The declaration becomes even more specific. Wina Jundan, Lahumuel, Glibin. The word Jundan, our army host, is a collective noun. The word Glibin refers to those who are dominant, prevailing, and overcomers. Linguistically, this is the formula of finality. It uses the definite article al to show that the only true victory belongs to this specific group. Exegetical depth. Who is the army of Allah? Exegetically, it includes the angels, the messengers, the believers, and even the forces of nature, the wind, the birds, the thunder. This verse reveals the inevitability of the endgame. Falsehood may have bands and gangs, but Allah has an army. The army is organized, disciplined like the ranks mentioned in the beginning of the surah, and backed by infinite power. The Glibin are not those who win a single debate. They are those who own the final outcome of the universe. Sufi spiritual interpretation. In Sufism, the army of Allah refers to the Lashkar-e-Qalb, the forces of the heart. The heart has armies of kabro, patience, shwerk, gratitude, and yakin, certainty. Against them, the army of shay, lust, greed, pride cannot prevail. The seeker is told, enlist in the army of Allah. If your limbs and thoughts are soldiers of the divine, you are Ghalib, victorious even if you are physically oppressed. True victory is spiritual dominance, the state where no external event can shake your internal peace. This verse is about the ultimate triumph of the spirit. Historical, ethical insight. Ethically, this verse teaches collective strength. To be victorious, one must be part of the army, the community of the faithful. Historically, it predicted that the small group of Muslims would eventually dominate the region. It teaches us the ethics of unity, knowing that our individual victory is tied to the victory of the word we carry. Legal jurisprudential insight. Jurisprudentially, this verse establishes the sovereignty of the divine party Jizabal. It provides the legal basis for the ultimate success of the cause. In the court of history, the army of Allah has the permanent writ of victory. It legally defines success not by numbers, but by affiliation to the sovereign. Hikam, aphoristic interpretation. The king's army doesn't need to win every skirmish to win the war. Falsehood is a wave that crashes. Truth is the ocean that remains. If you are in his army, your defeat is impossible, even if you fall. To lose for Allah is the only way to truly win. Verse 174, the command to withdraw, Kanzo Iman. Quran, Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Chapter 37, verse 174. So turn away from them for a while. Linguistic analysis. The command is Fatawala Anam, so turn away from them. The duration is a tenon until a time for a while. Linguistically, tawalk means to turn one's back or to shift focus. It is not an eternal abandonment, but a strategic pause. The until a time implies that the time of reckoning is already scheduled. Exegetical depth. After declaring the victory of the army, Allah gives a practical instruction to the Prophet, peace be upon him. Exegetically, this is the directive of emotional detachment. Do not exhaust yourself in arguing with those who have already chosen the fire. Turn your heart toward the mission. It teaches that there is a time for invitation, DOA, and a time for withdrawal in civil. When the truth is manifest and people still mock it, the believer is commanded to leave them to their fate. The time mentioned refers to the Battle of Badr, or the Day of Judgment. Sufi spiritual interpretation. In the Sufi path, this is the command for uzla seclusion of the heart. The seeker is told, turn away from the distractions and the deniers. Do not let the noise of the world interfere with your music of praise. Till a time refers to the moment of fatfopening. You must turn away from the false many to find the true one. This verse is about conserving spiritual energy. Stop trying to fix those who don't want to be fixed, and focus on the known station Allah has given you. Silence is often the most powerful form of turning away. Historical, ethical insight. Ethically, this verse teaches the ethics of dignified distance. Do not grovel for the acceptance of the arrogant. Historically, it was a source of relief for the Prophet, peace be upon him, against the constant mockery of the Quraysh. It teaches us the ethics of prioritization, knowing when to walk away from a toxic environment to preserve the sanctity of the soul. Legal jurisprudential insight. Jurisprudentially, this verse establishes the legality of strategic withdrawal in Islamic law and diplomacy. There is a precedent for breaking ties or temporary ceasefire with those who are hostile to the truth. It provides the legal basis for the right to disengage. It shows that turning away is not weakness, but a legal preparation for the time of victory. Hikam aphoristic interpretation. The moon doesn't argue with the dogs that bark at it. Just keeps shining and turns away. Your time is too precious to spend on those who love the dark. Turn away from the them to find the him. The while is short. The victory is forever. Verse 175. The power of observation, Kanzel Iman. Quran. Surah As-Saffat, the arranged in ranks. Chapter 37, verse 175. And watch them, for they will soon see. Linguistic analysis. The command is wa burum, and watch observe them. The promise is fasafa yub earn, for they will shortly see. Both verbs come from Bogar vision sight. Linguistically, gaf. This is a duel of vision. The Prophet is told to watch them with the eye of certainty, while they will eventually see with the eye of regret. Exegetical depth. This verse changes the Prophet's role from a debater to an observer. Exegetically means watch their downfall, for it is coming. It is a terrifying warning to the deniers. They are currently blind to the word and the army, but soon, Safar, the veils will be ripped away. They will see the angels they mocked, the victory they denied, and the fire they joked about. To watch them is to stand in a position of moral superiority. The believer watches from the balcony of truth, while the denier is lost in the maze of the world. Sufi, spiritual interpretation, this is the station of mushahada, witnessing. The Sufi is told to watch the play of the world. Observe how the idols crumble and how the fabrications fade away. When you watch with the light of Allah, you see the end and the beginning. They will soon see refers to the awakening of the nafs, every soul will eventually see the truth. Some will see it through the light of faith now, and some will see it through the light of punishment then.
Oh.
The Sufi chooses to see now. This verse is a call to clarity of vision. Stop being part of the drama and start being the witness of the divine drama. Historical, ethical insight, ethically. This verse teaches the ethics of the witness. Be a witness of truth, not a participant in falsehood.
Us.
Historically, this seeing happened at the conquest of Makkah, when the leaders of Quraysh stood humbled before the Prophet. It teaches us the ethics of vindication. Truth doesn't need to shout, it only needs to be seen. Legal jurisprudential insight, jurisprudentially.
Ow.
This verse establishes the principle of final evidence. The seeing is the final testimony against the guilty. In divine law, the punishment is only enacted after the criminal sees the evidence of their crime. Provide the legal basis for the certainty of judgment. The watching is the legal observation of the execution of the decree. Hikam, aphoristic interpretation. The one who has the light sees the whole. The one in the dark only sees it when he falls. Don't waste your breath. Use your eyes. To watch them is to realize that falsehood is already dead. It just hasn't stopped moving yet. The seeing is the end of all arguments. Hadith, the victory of the heart. To connect the victory of the army, verse 173, with our daily life, we look at the prophetic definition of true strength. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The strong person is not the one who can wrestle others to the ground. The truly strong person is the one who controls himself in a fit of rage," related in Sahih Bukhari. Hadith, contextualization and analysis. The internal army. This hadith is the Sufi key to verse 173. To be part of Allah's victorious army, one must first be victorious over the internal enemy, the anger, and the ego. The result of the word, when the word verse 171 is settled in the heart, the believer gains this prophetic self-control. The help verse 172 manifests as the ability to remain calm while the world barks verse 174. Right. True victory is not crushing others, is not being crushed by your own lower self. We have journeyed through the preceded word of victory and the invincibility of Allah's army. We have seen that the command to turn away is a strategic preparation for the time when the blind will finally see. May Allah make us part of His army, grant us the help of His presence, and allow us to watch the world with the eyes of certainty. Allah, may we be among those who see the truth today, so we are not among those who see it in regret tomorrow. O Allah, the Lord of the preceded word and the commander of the victorious army, we ask you to enroll us in the ranks of your sent servants. O Allah, grant us the help that only comes from you, and make us among those who are victorious over their own egos and the temptations of the world. Grant us the wisdom to turn away from the noise of the arrogant and the strength to find our known station. In the silence of your presence, open our eyes to watch your divine plan unfolding in every moment, and let us see the truth with the eye of the heart before the veils are lifted in the hereafter. Save us from the watching of regret, and anchor us in the watching of certainty. Amin.